You won't believe what happened when the kid caught an elf on the shelf moving in real life. Today we present 100 of the craziest elf sightings ever recorded. Like this video and subscribe right now. Let's dive in. If you think elves are not intelligent, then this video will make you reconsider your stance on that, because this particular elf on the shelf displayed elf intelligence by using a grappling hook to climb the table and open the sweet jar from Santa. What some elves on the shelf get into in the middle of the night remains unclear. While we agree that it's sometimes about flying, cooking, and moving around for some elves, there's some elves on the shelf that just come alive in the middle of the night to do whatever. The elf on the shelf in this clip is a perfect example of that, and we are completely puzzled by its behavior. This is probably one of the most confusing elf on the shelf caught on camera videos we've seen. While we're still trying to adjust elves on the shelf moving, now we have to see them create extra legs from sneakers to walk and run around the house. Confused? Check out the confusing clip for yourself. Maybe you'll figure it out. This guy is aware that something is going on late at night and that their elf was up to something, so he installed a concealed camera to catch this mischievous elf. Let's take a look at what he's got. Alright, so it enters the room, disappears behind the table, and starts flying across the room. This elf is definitely using elf magic, but following this performance, he goes to the bedroom where the man is sleeping, and well, let's just take a look at what the elf ends up doing. While this is one of the shortest clips on the list, the surprise it packs will give you thrills. Not only did we get to see an elf that decorates, but we also got an elf on the shelf that would go into hiding immediately rather than admire its own work. This clip is from a family YouTube channel which captured a unique elf. It's unlike all other moving elves on the shelf because this one is just a giant elf. It must be the size of an adult person, and who knew that elves can grow that tall? Unfortunately, this elf was really angry that it was that tall, and it's just making a mess all around the house, like throwing furniture around. Maybe this elf got fired by Santa and became angry because now he doesn't have a job.
Sounds like it's getting a panic.
Yeah?
What is it?
He almost looks familiar.
Oh no, what's he gonna do with that? Nothing.
Nothing, alright?
Oh, he's gonna mess with the chairs.
Gigo, he's just like you. He is a naughty little elf. He looks
Did
familiar,
you tell
though.
someone to go into the house and break into our house?
What did he just do?
He turned on the sink.
He turned on the water.
Are you serious?
The water?
This one's really crazy, guys. So this kid thought of pranking his elf on the shelf by pretending to leave the room. Little did the elf on the shelf know that he was under surveillance and his every move was being recorded. Some elves are easier to trick than others, but we should love our elves even if they're not moving. Now we have a clip of a baby elf that was flying with methods that are more traditional instead of using hot air balloons or airplanes. This baby elf was using magic to fly. This elf is also way cuter and even more powerful than the normal elves that we're used to, so the guy that recorded him put a secret camera in his living room to record him throughout the night, and he ended up catching this cute little flying elf around the room back and forth until it reached the table and noticed the secret camera recording him, so the elf got scared and turned it off. This is definitely not your traditional elf on the shelf caught moving on camera clip, but it's a fun one nonetheless. The elf jumps off the hearth to attack its owner, and after this intense fight, the elf emerges as the winner, leaving its owner lying unconscious on the ground. Luckily, the rest of the family returned home in time to help the guy.
Oh, I don't think so. Not today. Oh, what? Where did he go? Oh.
Honey, it's Daddy. Oh no. At least the elf's okay.
A family chronicled the presence of the elf on the shelf, who usually comes to them and then goes back to the North Pole at the end of the year, hopefully to report good things about them to Santa. It would be a shame if the elf's report made its own owners end up on the naughty list. This guy captured a strange clip of his elf on the shelf teleporting around his house. You can see the elf flying through the air into the frame before landing on the ground, but when its owner points its camera at it, the elf disappears and no one knows where it went next. It's one of the spookiest elf on the shelf clips moving so far, so let's check it out.
Yo, where did it go? He was right here, Mr. Elf.
Here we have another clip showcasing elves eating their Thanksgiving dinner. The elves can be seen with evidence of the food they stole right in their mouth. We can't blame them because they might have known that they might not be invited to Thanksgiving, so they decided to take food for themselves.
Well, look at the mashed potatoes.
feeble started mashing them. She's so...
Now we have a clip recorded by a YouTuber who wanted to capture his elf on the shelf moving. As you can see, the elf on the shelf is sitting right in front of the camera, so you might think that the elf isn't going to move because elves usually don't move when they know that they're being recorded. But the elf eventually starts moving and even leaps straight into the camera. Let's check it out.
Unlike any other, like compared to
scared to try.
So imagine if they lived like 10, 20 years, or like a lot of marine life lives a lot longer. Imagine they lived like 90 years like turtles. They would have taken over long ago, dude. Would have been over.
This is a fact.
No. But, you know, they, in the span...
Wait, dude, look. I saw that. Bro, it moved.
For this elf, it's the 10th day it's spending at this family's house, and it was the day when it eventually got spotted moving on video by the dad. Take note of how he successfully captures the elf. First, he places the elf snacks to entice him to enter the room. Nothing appears to be moving at first, but then the elf flies into the room with a marker and greets us with a Merry Christmas. What a lovely elf. And after that, the elf walks away without even touching the elf snacks. It's most likely not as good as the snacks that it gets from Santa at the North Pole. These elves must be used to being captured on camera, and they should be aware by now that people know that they can come to life. And back in the day, every elf was captured moving on camera would get fired, but maybe this year Santa has changed the North Pole laws or something like that, because this elf was sitting with his face turned away from the camera when out of nowhere it just turned around and looked straight into it. It's just insane, so let's check it out. If you're interested in learning how to catch your elf pulling pranks on you outside your door, you should watch this clip. So here's what happened. An elf was captured on camera ringing the doorbell of one of the family's homes, which was lucky because they had a security camera in place at the front door. As a result, his little naughty act was exposed and he got captured on camera doing the usual mischievous behavior that elves like to do. An elf on the shelf played hide and seek with the camera as it moved around what seemed to be like a kitchen. After playing hide and seek with the camera for a while, it had to be forced into permanent hiding when the dog came into the kitchen. We think this elf was afraid of the dog snitching on it. Either the elf on the shelf in this video is trying to get down by floating in the air and eventually flying away, or the elf eventually falls. It's hard to tell, but it's a cool clip nonetheless. In this clip, the elf can be seen wanting to climb down the staircase, but as if it knew there was a hidden camera trying to capture that exact moment. So the elf went back and hid, but then continued to peep as if it was hoping that the camera would move or stop rolling. So let's check it out. Now, this clip captures elves doing something I didn't think was possible. These elves crafted a makeshift hot air balloon and started flying across the room with two of their babies in the basket. Maybe these elves got tired of working for Santa and wanted to go on a short vacation, or maybe they just got bored with sitting at their owner's house and wanted to have some fun with their babies, or maybe the elves just wanted to impress their owners. We will probably never know, but this clip is a great example of the ingenuity that some of these elves have.
What are you doing on top of their hot air balloon? Whoa, it's so pretty with all the snowflakes. Are you two having a fun time? Boy, what were you two thinking? I cannot believe they're flying on top. Well, if you guys like this video, don't forget to like it down below. And if you'd like to see more crazy things that my elves do, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel. Check out things that they do now, things that they do in the future, and things that they used to do.
This clip captures one elf who's wearing green clothes turning his fellow elf into a pile of candy cane dust. The owner of these elves was shocked to discover what looks to be a crime scene, and we can only hope that the other elf will return to normal instead of remaining just a pile of crushed candy canes. Who knew that elves could use such dangerous magic? Just imagine if your elf would decide to cast this spell on you and turn you into candy cane dust.
Start the elf off the shelf. And then, this is what I discovered. And it's, wait, is this, it looks like, yeah, it is. It's Buddy's hat, the elf on the shelf, and What in the world? He turned into something. Was it Zart? What is this something? Look, let's take a close-up look. Whoa! Whoa, yeah, it does. It looks like candy cane mints. Buddy? Oh, dear. Zart, what in the world did you do?
This little child wanted to catch an elf on the shelf, but it takes a weird turn because not even the kid can figure out what the elf was doing. The elf captured in this clip is a really strange fellow, and his behavior is peculiar, to say the least. This clip captured an elf on the shelf who's showing us around the house as if he was a real estate agent. This elf is just restless and is moving all around the place seemingly without a purpose, and even goes to the balcony to sit on a chair, but for a moment until he started moving again. Let's check it out. Nighttime is fun for elves on the shelf because they always think that they're alone and won't be caught, and the elf on the shelf in this clip knows how to make use of that time. Unfortunately, there's a hidden camera set up to capture its fun time, so we can say that the elf had failed in some sense, but it also succeeded making the day. In this clip, we can see two elves that were caught sharing a pumpkin. We all know that elves love sweets, but who knew that they also indulge in pumpkins? Now that's news for us. We must admit, this is one of the most confusing elves on the shelf caught on camera clips that we've ever seen, because we still don't know if the elf in this clip was trying to have what seemed to be a salt bath or if they were trying to hide in it. Enjoy the clip and tell us your opinions in the comments. Who knew that elves like to dance? Not just dance, but at such a pace as these elves. If you can try moving your legs as quickly as these cute little elves, and you will see how difficult it is. This clip shows an elf on the shelf jumping up and down the bedroom and getting caught on the camera while doing so, but when it discovers it's being filmed, the elf could only think of a place to hide, and its choice will surprise you, so keep watching. The elf on the shelf was caught red-handed carrying herself in the kitchen. In this clip, the elf takes her time walking between the dishes, then turns the faucet on and relaxes for a moment. But then she takes to the air and flies right in the front of the camera, and that's when she probably noticed the camera and did what she did at the end. So basically, this mom was having some suspicions about her elf because it would be placed at one spot and the next morning it would be found at another place around the home. If you want to catch your own elf, make sure to listen closely on what I'm about to say because this mom shows the best tricks and tips for catching an elf. At first, she shows us that the elf is sitting silently on the Christmas tree and then proceeds to show us what seems to be the elf's door at the North Pole, which teleports it back to Santa Claus. That's the spot where you have to put your camera at because the elf will probably be trying to go back to Santa. So the next morning, she sets up two cameras in the living room and the kitchen, and as expected, the elf goes down the tree, and you guessed it, to the little door. This woman started hearing bell noises coming out of her fridge, meaning that some of her elves were caught inside of it. When she opened the fridge door, she found one of the elves wearing green clothes hanging upside down, and another elf with more usual red attire being stuck inside a water bottle. The elf wrote a note asking for help. Finally, the green elf speaks and explains how this entire situation came to be, so let's check it out.
The water bottle, but how'd she get in there? What? Zart, how in the world did Meebles get inside that water bottle?
Well, I was hanging upside down and I thought she might want to go in there because it'd be, toasty and cold, kind of like the North Pole.
This elf played so many pranks on this family, and you're about to be in for an adventure. In the first few seconds of the video, the elf starts things off by sliding down the stairs and onto the fire truck toy. Then it drives to the family's room, and then the lights begin to rapidly turn off and on. But that's not the craziest part. The elf goes on to climb up the tree in the fireplace and, well, unhooks the family socks. This elf is just so mischievous, but because of that, we have this great clip to show you, so make sure to stick around to the end. An elf on the shelf was caught on camera, actually teasing the viewers. The elf in this clip is seen playing hide and seek with the camera. How cute. It's an entire elf family stuck inside a lantern. You can see a grown-up elf with several of its babies, which are wearing many different colors. We don't know how all of them ended up being stuck there, but luckily one of the elves started talking and tells us an entire story, so let's keep watching until the end.
It's kind of hard to explain, but Zart saw this glowing magical light, and he thought we would like to hang out inside of it, but then he put us all inside, and then he closed it and locked it with a big lock, and now we're all trapped inside here, and I was hoping maybe, just maybe, you could use your magic gloves and help save us.
In this clip, we have a really smart elf who noticed that a security camera was recording him at night, so he decided to just pick it up and do a little elf vlog, recording himself walking around the house. This recording was a perfect gift for the family, and the elf must have put in so much effort into it because just think about it, a camera is super heavy for the little elf, so carrying it around the house should have been really difficult.
Oh my goodness, what is that tree doing? What's he doing?
What's he gonna do, girls?
Oh
no. Oh.
He's going on the couch. He's going. Oh my.
The final clip shows an elf who's obviously in a party mood. In the days leading up to Christmas, the smart little guy eventually figured out how to use a laptop and goes to YouTube to listen to some music, and he apparently knew exactly what he was in the mood for before starting his little party, as he starts playing his favorite song and showing off his sick dance moves. Partying with elves would be super fun, and it's a pity that they aren't allowed to move in front of people. What seemed to be an innocent clip of Grandma unwrapping items turned out to be something straight out of a movie scene. A camera caught an elf trying to walk out of the house before being caught on camera, and well, let's just take a look. Okay, you guys might be shocked about what you're about to see, but behold, it's an elf on the shelf. This time, it's just really gonna be fun. Well, this elf on the shelf was just getting caught out of bed going to the bathroom, but he can't seem to be able to lift the toilet seat. And here's the funny part, he decides to wee all over the bathroom sink instead. What a silly elf, right guys? So 2 weeks before Christmas, this dad caught their elf on the shelf just flying in the middle of the video, and he was recording. Actually, this dad and his family have a verified elf on the shelf YouTube channel that they capture their elf moving a few times, so it must be a real video, and what you're seeing has happened for real. It's about to get even crazier, so make sure to keep on watching until the end. In this clip, we can see a chase between a cat and an elf on the shelf, and it gets really close until the elf decides to use his magic and fly upward to avoid the curious cat. Not all cats are friendly to elves, so it was probably a good decision to make. This family decided to play hide and seek at their house with a giant elf on the shelf. You can see the elf walking through the house looking for children who were hiding, and eventually the elf comes upon the suspicious cardboard box sitting in the middle of the kitchen. So let's see if the elf—
That's all Spiderhead. Move.
Alright, you guys ready? You better be, because the elf on the shelf is coming in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wait, okay, so the elf's got to pick one box. One box. Where are you going to go there, elf? Oh, whoa, what's going on? Are you picking this? Uh-oh!
Because they heard noises coming from the cereal box the night before, the family set out to find what this elf was up to and trap him before he can get away. In order to catch the elf, they set up a camera the next day. Because of this, the hunch turned out to be right. He was hanging out and eating some sugar cookie cereal. In any case, let's check out the video and see what happened at the end. This shows elves on the shelf caught red-handed at the scene of their crime. It's the second day of Thanksgiving, and these elves must have been angry about not getting an invite to eat because they ended up breaking into the family fridge and having a feast. We can learn from this clip that it's better to just invite your elves to Thanksgiving because they might get their piece of dinner one way or another. This clip captured a day in the lives of 3 elves on the shelf, from working around the house to giving a haircut to their friend Barbie. This is an insane clip that shows a lot of details on how the elves spend their free time, so let's take a look. This clip was captured by a man who set up a camera to catch his elf on the shelf floating around his bedroom before it started moving towards his pillows and acting as if it had gone to sleep, and finally moving down the bedside to hide on the floor. This is one of the strangest elves on the shelf's caught on camera clips. Rather than the owners of the elves setting up the camera themselves to catch their elves moving, the elves themselves decided to do the honor by filming themselves moving. The elves recorded this clip in the middle of the night when the owners were sleeping. Our next elf on the shelf caught on camera shows the elf trying to find the right position for it to either sit or rest. The elf is seen moving towards the sink before moving away and then tries to rest on the counter before changing its mind again, and that must have been why it was spotted on the camera that was recording its every movement. This clip shows elves that got sick and because of that have turned into candy canes. Luckily, their owners knew exactly what to do and prepared a special potion that cured the elves and brought them back into their usual elf form. This is just amazing to see that a few drops of magic potion can treat the elves, so let's check it out.
Don't worry, Elves. We are going to turn you back to normal. 1, 2. 1 little drop. Elvis is back to normal. Yay!
This clip captured a pregnant elf on the shelf moving and giving birth right in front of the camera. This is probably the first time such an event has been captured on camera, and it's truly magical. You can see that the baby elf looks slightly different than its mother because it's still just a newborn, and it will grow up to be a magical elf just like its mother, so let's check it out.
Oh, I just can't believe all of her cuteness. Go ahead, we'll put you right inside there. Oh, such a little tiny cute little baby elfkin.